All right. You know what? Not much of a barn-burning matchup there in the first one, but we are back to give you Immortals and Winterfox, and what should be a pretty decent matchup. Okay, you're right.
I'm not even going to say it.
Winterfox, they're in a tough place here in ESL Pro League Season 5. Obviously not doing so hot. They're at the very bottom of the barrel. They're scraping by. They need any W they can get. On the other hand, we've got Immortals not sitting at a great record, but they're still Immortals.
Exactly. And form-wise, they're looking up as well. So from this point on, we're expecting Immortals to kind of get into that group where they're constantly going to be amongst the top 6, eventually climb higher and higher, because just from the get-go, they are one of the better teams in the entire league, right? So you expect that to kind of happen naturally or organically as the season goes along.
And in case you are unfamiliar with this team, let's take a look at Immortals right now as we bring that up in front of you. Bolts, Henny, Lucas, Steele, and
FNX.
Man of the Hour.
The Phoenix.
The Phoenix.
Yeah, he's been reincarnated ever since he ever since he joined the Immortals, really. We're seeing him in a much more, I guess, different role than what we've seen from his entire stay in SK. Much more back to the days of the Made in Brazil kind of FNX, which is going way, way, way back. But it's really cool to see he hasn't, forgotten old tricks by that sense. So he's still fragging like crazy, and the rest of the team seems to be adapting, or the entire team as a unit seems to be working out really well.
There's something to say about the old guard from 1.6, right?
Yeah, there definitely is.
None of the old guard here that I recognize personally, but I could be very wrong.
Well, you got some old schoolers in there. APOC, for instance, has been around for quite some time. Same thing goes for Offnu. But if there's a player that kind of shines out to me here, it's going to be Susie, really. So, and then you've got Imagine, obviously, and Raz to round out the lineup. But even though you have some more old school names in that lineup, it's still going to be the new guys that are more interesting to me. Because I expected a lot of things coming out from Susie already in the first week I was here. Didn't really have any sort of impact. Obviously, the entire team is having a bit of a rough time, but I'm expecting, if there's ever a turnaround for Winterfox this season, it's going to be off the back of Susie improving his play.
Well, the thing is, let's touch a little bit more on what you're talking about with these younger talent that come in here, right? So what'll end up happening is you'll get these new guys. They'll come in. They'll have this like fierce tenacity to approach the game in this new like totally immerse themselves kind of way.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these older players, they're kind of stuck in their ways,
Yeah,
like
kind of jaded.
In a way, yeah. I mean, they've played the game a certain way for so long that no one can tell them anything.
Yeah.
That is the way it's going to be until the last time they log into Steam. That is how they're going to play this game.
It's kind of like dad knows best kind of mentality, right? Like you're the man of the house. Like everything's supposed to be according to your rules, and then you have this, rebellious teenager of yours, who's just trying to mess things up entirely because he has a completely different view on things and how he wants to approach everything. And sometimes that's actually pretty helpful for a team that's gotten stuck in their old ways and not able to adapt or come up with something new. They just kind of grind on with the same old. You need new impulses to actually be able to get out of that rut.
You bring that fresh breath of air in, and before you know it, it's like a new life almost into most of these teams.
Definitely is.
And we can touch a little bit more on FNX being part of that old guard and then coming into this Immortals lineup and shining. Now, that's actually the inverse. He's out here. He's very much a leader in his team. And what he's bringing to the table is that firepower, absolutely, at this point.
Yeah, it's very true what you said. It's a bit of a different take on it, where the old guy is coming into the group of youngins, really, to change things up. But it's really cool, and I think that's not going to happen in a lot of cases. Normally, you would expect a guy in the role of FNX to be the more calming kind of guy who makes sure that the young guys stay in control in tight situations and hectic games and that kind of stuff. But FNX showing that he hasn't really dropped off in terms of skill at any given point throughout all these years. He's still going to be able to frag like nobody else. And that's really cool because I think in addition to all of that, you still get the veteranship that he brings along on the ride, because normally you'd be happy with just having that, because that's going to teach the younger players a ton about how to approach things in different situations, how you want to play things, and just become smarter players. But FNX is just kind of the whole package in that sense.
Well, the map we're going to look at first is Overpass. Now, veterancy throughout CSGO, great. Veterancy throughout the long haul there. In all of Counter-Strike, Overpass doesn't really apply.
That's true.
With the firepower Immortals have going into this matchup, is there a contest here between them and Winterfox?
I honestly don't think so, and it's a bit of a shame because you want to see Winterfox kind of turn things around and get back in their groove and have a shot at not being at the very bottom, desperately trying to avoid relegation. But don't think the matchup versus Immortals is going to do them any favors in that sense. Overpass is a pretty good map for Immortals in that sense. It's a map they play a lot as well. So there's not really anything that bodes well for Winterfox going into this, and that's obviously worrying.
As it should be. I mean, we've talked about Immortals being the firepower that they are, having the advantage that they do in terms of skill and caliber of players.
Yeah.
And then we've also spoke a little bit about, in the past, we've spoke a little bit about what's going on in that Winterfox camp.
Yeah, or what's not happening.
Or what's not happening.
Yeah.
And, we can only expand so much on that because we're not in that camp. We don't know what goes on there day to day.
Yeah, all we get to see is really what they showcase when they play official games, and so far it hasn't been too much to write home about. And we can only hope and assume that that's going to change. Maybe Overpass is where they've been able to put in a ton of hours and actually come up with something that might work. But as of right now, they haven't really left us in a position to be very hopeful for them.
No, absolutely in a desperate position at this point. Yeah. I've refrained from using the word desperate in terms of what this team needs.
But I think it's accurate at this point. I guess the one benefit that makes it a little bit easier to swallow the fact that they're going up against Immortal is the fact that they just saw Selfless going 0-2 versus SK, and they are the teams that were at the same record going into this day. So even if they were to drop 2 in a row here versus Immortals, they're still not going to be, at the very bottom in that sense. They're still going to have Selfless around there to hang out with.
So they're not alone.
It's important to have friends, Misery loves company.
Oh my God, that is beautiful. That is one of the more poetic things I've ever heard on a segment here. I think I might tear up a little bit, but not as much as I'm going to tear up when I watch Eric DeBear Strongberg beautifully guide us through Winterfox on Overpass. Give me some proper analysis, Eric.
Oi! Thanks, mates. As you tell by my strong accent, we're going over Winterfox here. It's so bad. Anyways, we're going to take a look at Offnu. He plays a rotator B in Overpass. And this round, he's rotating really fast. He's rotating before his team died, but he's able to rotate so fast that he catches off Team Rush off guard, as you see the little man with a Molotov. And so after they see him, he repeats again. It'd be a little scrimmy, but it pays off. He gets 3 kills. He gets two headshot right there, and the third one. And now Offnu, by him rotating so quickly, is able to turn a 4-on-3 round in favor of Rush into 3-on-1 in favor of Winterfox. So nice play, nice skill from Offnu. Now, this round, he decides he's not going to rotate Fast A, obviously. They probably heard people hopping around in the water area, so he's going to stay here. Looks like Rush is about to hit a B execute. Offnu, I like he's just playing a little passive. He's waiting for flashes. He's waiting for everything, and then he's going to re-peek. As you see right here, Rush is executing the bomb site. Now, it's a nice play by him that he's pushing him aside. He's not giving away his spot just yet. He took a shot. He has a kill. Now they know he's in this area. Goes for a nice 2 kills. Nice patience play by Offnu. Rush couldn't kill him in pit. Now, this is a play later. It's similar, but Offnu does a little different. So when Team Rush is about to execute, you see right here, instead of Offnu tosses the Molotov behind the smoke. So if they try to rush through it, Offnu, playing an off angle, he decides he kills one person and the bomb. Now, even though he only got 1 kill, his positional play where he forced the bomb guy, I don't know if that's more on Rush or him, but the bomb ended up coming through here, forces Team Rush in a bad spot, and Offnu playing, showing us various ways to play B. He does a pretty good job, and unfortunately, though, they do lose the map. He kept it close by having a lot of hero plays. Back to you, Stunner. Boy.
Thank you, Eric. All right.
Solid.
Outstanding. I mean, your impressions are spot on. I'll give him that.
Yeah, no, he definitely sold me as an Australian there.
Absolutely think it would have just a little more impact if he had the tracksuit on, though.
That is very true. Maybe, shrimp on the Barbie, that kind of thing.
Shrimp on the Barbie.
I guess the only downside is the fact that the majority are from New Zealand.
Yes.
Because I know we've burned ourselves on that before. Mm-hmm. So, it's still some ways to go, but, we'll let it slide for now.
Well, better Eric than us, I suppose. Yeah. But let's talk about the situation at hand. Okay, so Winterfox, you're probably not going to land. Let's be realistic.
Yeah.
Immortals, though, sitting 4-4 in the Pro League right now. With this win, they skyrocket up to fourth place. With both map wins.
Yeah.
They skyrocketed to fourth place above CLG Optic Misfits.
Yeah.
It's all very tight-knit pack right now.
It very much is, and that's why, again, all of these games are so important, and we talked about it. Whenever we see those teams around that sixth spot, they're with pretty much even records. Every game matters all that much more. For Immortals, though, if they can skyrocket into the top 4, we'll finally have that table that we always talk about when we bring it up. Like now it's starting to look how we expected it before the season started. But I gotta say, Immortals, they have to be feeling pretty good about what they're going up against. Really, it is, in my opinion, very likely that they're going to be sitting at 6-4 in that 4th spot by the end of the day.
By the end of the day,
yeah.
I mean, you're not wrong to think that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
This is another team that we see travel a lot as well, who could be also affected in a positive way.
Yeah.
By not being on the road right now and finding some downtime at home and really just being able to practice more and come up with new material and more so study their opponents, really.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to work with themselves, because again, we have to imagine or have to reiterate the fact that FNX is still very new to the team, right? And they haven't had all that much time to actually just straight up practice with them, which is obviously going to be a big advantage for them after, as this month runs along. They're going to get better and better, and the team play is going to be there at any given situation. You still see SK, for instance, having issues with how they play their sites, Phelps not being accustomed to playing the B-bomb site. Similar things are going to show up for Immortals as well, but that's why this month really of freedom, I guess, from having to fly everywhere is going to come in a big way.
Well, even if we take a step back and we talk about this month, there are really no lands this month for these guys to be at across the entire spectrum of the Pro League. So this is grind time for these teams at the middle of the pack to really also find themselves trying to separate themselves from that middle of the pack, that lower pack, and put themselves in a LAN position. Yeah,
I think pretty much the upcoming month with the match weeks that we're going to have is pretty much going to set the tone for how everything's going to play out. I think you can allow yourself through the month of March, March and April to really just set in stone where you're going to be at. And I think that's what Immortals are going to look to do, because they have no other obligations really to attend to. They can solely focus on their online games here right now, focus on their team play and practice, and just make the best out of it. And I think that we're going to see the result of that as well.
Okay, well, to deliver some results tonight, that will be Blue and Days standing by to give us our first matchup with Winterfox and Immortals. Take it away, guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Stunna. And just like the analysis is that we won't really try to oversell things. Looking at this, Winterfox hasn't really shown us that much this season, and we haven't really seen any big improvements coming across. So much like our last match, this one probably, looking at it from face value, this is probably going to be very straightforward.
Didn't show us much last season either.
Yeah.
From Winterfox.
I mean, they had a couple of matches and they started off.
They had their moments. But this season, it seems like they've gotten a lot worse, to put it lightly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Immortals seems to have, although they are 4-4, it seems like they've actually gotten better. Performing very well at Katowice.
Yep.
So Immortals kind of up on the up, and Winterfox kind of on the down, and
the way down.
Yeah, way down. But anything can happen in Counter-Strike Go. I think we've all learned that.
Just like, not playing on Cobblestone and Cash again. Just like that can happen, and it actually has happened here. We have a different map in the pool finally, as we're going to go to Overpass.
Incredible.
So finally we get to mix up a bit. Our eyes will get to see a different color palette for once. Not just going to be gray and light tones of red everywhere, so we can jump into it.
Beautiful graffiti.
Let's take a look at it there. We still have light tones of red, unfortunately, is the first one we go to.
There's actually a lot of gray, too. Blue. Quite a lot of gray.
Maps need to be more colorful.
No, it's the worst when it's like that. I don't like how Nuke, it's very difficult to, it's all really bright white,
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it's hard to see, it's hard to have the proper crosshair placement when it's like that. So it's kind of good when it's
well, the colors are faded anyway when it was in the pregame, so it looks a lot better now. Yeah. So anyway, getting into it, Winterfox, pretty straightforward up to the playground area here. Probably going to try to swing this out long, but that means, though, is that Henny is going to get the very early spot on this. If he peeks again, he's going to see the numbers that are out here, so he can call for those reinforcements or just players down from the connector to try and cut this back off, and I believe that latter option is the one that they are going to go with. We can even see them looking for a flank very early on here, and that will be done by FNX. Often watching out for that, though, so it isn't necessarily going to be an easy path, but the timing on it works out to where FNX sees this. They have have managed to isolate Lucas from behind, but then FNX swings back in to get that kill. Zusi and Imagine, though, pick up 2 more directly after that, so it is advantage to Winterfox here right now, but since they were red, they have not made any progress in actually getting up to the site. They've still kind of been isolated to this party/A short area here as Bolts sneaks up for another kill, drops Zusi, and now we're even 3-on-3 again. Bolts has a lot more pressure coming his way, though, and he knows it, so he's backing up, trying to get away from this, but the Goosh completely messes him up. APOC is going to take down Bolts. And again, they've got an advantage to work with if they continue out towards B, but not using that option right now, still playing it slowly.
And it looks like Immortals is just going to concede B and overplay A and just hope that they come towards the A site. Oh, never mind. Steel is in heaven. It's a little confusing, Blue,
that mini
on
map,
that mini map.
Imagine if for Nuke, it's got some issues. But we see the Winterfox guys pushing up here towards the site now, so they should be able to hear this without a problem. And yeah, we can already see Steel going up the steps. Henny, though, at long, is not going to have to worry about a flank. Tries to go in it, but he's actually spotted first. Dropped down to 68. They're all trying to push him together, but he's doing massive damage. And now Steel coming back on the flank, finishing off one, tagged to 89. So it is an even 1v1 fight. He'll give him the time to put the bomb onto the ground here. And oh, APOC just rolls out and destroys Steel. So it's Winterfox that take the pistol after everything is done.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, I think that's a good, you know, round to go with this statement, is that positioning on pistol rounds a lot of the time doesn't lead to a round win as much as, like, other rounds, right? Like, if they had M4s or whatever, and that was a gun round, and they had that type of positioning with FNX flanking, and, you know, whoever was coming up the stairs like that, I think it was Lucas, like, they'd probably win that round for sure, because FNS shoots that guy in the back. But because it's pistols, there's no head armor, rounds can turn so fast. So even though everything pointed on the mini-map when it was a 5v5 scenario, like, Immortals was for sure going to win with that flank and the stairs flank coming up and they have him pinned, you know, just pistol rounds, man. Like, the Glockers, they turn around. It's hard to hit them when they're running backwards and stuff like that. It's kind of ridiculous how fast the rounds can turn in that type of scenario.
Lucas again just waiting here over in the bathroom connector here as the rest of Winterfox are going to slowly kind of push up towards long, same as the pistol there. They're keeping themselves a bit more split up this time as they've got APOC and Imagine coming in late, and only one of them currently working their way down towards short A to watch out here. Lucas sees it, but not meaning a whole lot of connection when he actually is put into battle. Only brings Zusi down to 25, but is traded up pretty effortlessly after that by Zusi himself. Either going to steal the pistol away, and now they've got their fast path into A, ready to rock and roll here, which they are probably going to use without too much delay. The guy's still down, double stacked on B, watching out for water pressure down there, which they've just dematerialized now, as you can see them going through the halls. FNX may be able to trip up a few, but no, Raz, you can see that. Instantly headshot out. FNX there, and now Bolts, he's able to hold for one. May even have a second up his sleeve too, but just barely misses the opportunity. Off Nuke, dropped to 2 HP. Henny trying to jump up, but the smoke's still in the way. He can do it again now if he wants to look for these frags here, but no one's actually peeking towards him. And yeah, there's not a whole lot happening here for the Immortals right now in their force-up rounds. More than likely, we'll see Winterfox come through, unless Steel can go off right here with this Deagle in the corner. They're playing it super passively in the post-plant. There's one, though. Finds Imagine. Quite a few more to go, and he gets the angle. I think he even connects, too, but somehow it's not a kill. Brings him to 65 HP. Raz and APOC going to find those last 2 kills, and Winterfox get up to 2.
And I thought FNX was going to have a chance at winning that round, but they actually timed it perfectly. Raz was spamming through that smoke right when it was dissipating, and that's when his teammates pushed, you know, the grassy area outside of bathrooms, and the smoke dissipates, and he has to kind of look towards the left, look towards his right. It was just a very uncomfortable situation for FNX to be in. So they actually timed that really, really well. Right when that smoke was going away, that's when they kind of pushed the bathrooms area, pushed the grassy area.
Yeah, the full save now coming in for the Immortals, so we can see them pushing pretty aggressively out. Zusi's able to manage this, though. He's already taken down Steel. He's got more around the corner waiting for him here. Just honestly taking his time now so as not to lose too many of their players here on the way into the site, but they are most certainly going through with the play over in towards B right now. It's, oh, bit of a misnade there. Close off the corner. Not a big deal, however. It's not like a movement. Molly Henny out from the toxic barrels in a second here. Zusi's managing the rest of them. Very nice pickup there onto the backside. As we will see off Nuke, finishing things off the last
heaven
kill.
With a MAC-10 with 2 bullets, Blue. What the heck? So now Immortals, if you notice, they're buying head armor because they're kind of anticipating, you know, hey, maybe they keep their MAC-10. So if they can't get the head armor, they're going to get it like you see FNX and Steel do, but they don't have an off. And that's a very like powerful tool that Immortals really relies on a lot more than probably other teams and other top teams. Henny has an op like so often, way more often than a lot of other teams. Like Immortals really puts a lot of their setups and relies on it very, very heavily.
Winterfox still using a lot of their SMGs here as well, so they're going to be at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to that. Thankfully, in terms of utility, they have a huge advantage here. Immortals, the little bit that they were able to buy into has already been deployed across the map here. Only got 2 smokes left to use, sitting on bolts and steel. And as they do push in, Lucas, who is down in the connector right now, is playing ultra passive himself, just at the top of the steps, looking to counter them when they get close up. But they do have lower steps control, so he can no longer freely peek. However, the timing on this may work out. Spots them. Offnu is there to cover for it, though. Takes him down immediately when he tries to go for the peek itself, and he will regroup with the majority of the rest of his teammates sitting out here in water. The only one that is not with him is Apok, and he's sitting just through the alt tunnel in Monster. FNX will challenge the push again from down in connector. He'll have to weigh this very cautiously, though. Catches one, looking for another, going in very deep into that battle, but it works out. He gets the second kill, and now Offnu is going to push up against him. Re-challenges it, though, and gets himself a 3rd kill. Still alive and rolling with 30 HP to work with, and now they've got a cross spray over here in CT main. So anyone from the T set that tries to push this is going to find themselves dead very quickly. Apok really wanting that kill on FNX, but can't even do that, and he ends up with a 4K at the end of the round, solidifying the Immortals their 1st round overall.
And if you notice what they did is they didn't have much utility. They kind of took a bit of a risk, right? They had the 1 guy in connector, the 2 guys around party, and then 2 guys kind of playing retake at B. So they take a risk. They want to take like aggressive battles where they don't really have to rely on utility and things like that. FNX counterflanks after, was it Lucas that was in the connector, I believe?
Yeah.
You know, dies to Offnu, and it was looking really good for Winterfox. You know, they punished that push, but then they, you know, forgot about that secondary push. FNX comes behind him and just wins the round pretty much by himself.
So still having the buy for Winterfox, though, because they were working with all their SMGs from the anti-eco, so saved a lot of money because of that. Nades going inside of the connector this time, though. One almost a full connection onto Imagine there, as he's brought down to 56 HP. Zusi's also trying to push his way back out. Problem being, though, is that Immortals already have a lot of presence up here towards party, so if he sticks around the same location for too long, Henny is going to be able to get a lock on that and try to shut him down. And speaking of which, we can see him pushing out now. Zusi still has his back turn. There's presence from the other side. Henny focusing on the first one, tries to get greedy for the second, but Zusi is there for the counter. So it goes 1v1. In the meantime, Imagine starting to lurk up that connector here. May have trouble on the other side if he doesn't pay attention to it, as Lucas is sitting just below in that doorway. And also, Steel is sitting in the water area itself. Still trying to test it, but again, a lot of time has gone by, and Winterfox hasn't really actually tried to move in for a whole lot of control just yet. FNX still has pressure over by the rock position, by the tree and long, so they're still going to have to deal with him in a second here, but he's also kind of getting a bit skittish here as well because of the connector presence. There's no one watching short A, so gets himself into this battle. The flashbang is going to hurt, but lines up a 1st kill, and he even gets that 2nd, too, on a Raz before Imagine finally moves in on that flank and catches him out. What's even worse is Zusi assumes he's safe down here on short A, so Lucas just swings out from the connector and takes him down. All of a sudden, it's a 1v3 with 20 seconds on the clock, and there's no way Imagine is clutching this, so he's falling back to save.
Yeah, why doesn't he get the op, though? There's an op on the ground that he could have picked up, and like really early on, though, as he gets a nice kill onto Steel before he does save. You're noticing Immortals is playing very, very loose on this CT side. They're pushing, they're playing very unconventional, and honestly, in my opinion, maybe underestimating Winterfox a little bit. You know, maybe playing this way because they feel like they can kind of just turn it on and beat this team. Because you probably normally don't see Immortals push like nearly as much as they are right now against, like, you know, very tier 1 opponents and whatnot, because they probably respect them a lot more. But early on in this game, they're kind of just pushing and constantly flanking, being aggressive, getting behind people.
Look at the discount buy coming in as Raz picks up nothing. Leads the charge, though, so he's going to go down pretty quickly before Offnu trades him back out. And it's Henny down below this time in the connector, where previously he was the one playing up towards party. So he'll have to hold down there as Winterfox do move in and get themselves a 1-to-1 trade to start things off. No huge divergence of players from the Immortal side just yet, as they're still kind of having things pretty evenly split in a 2-2 right now. But Henny down below, this is going to be the real problem. FNX will act as a distraction, and he can kind of push back up. Just steals the kill from FNX in all reality, as the Winterfox guys are brought down to just 2 players up and running. Offnu's going to move into this connector, but, I mean, moving so slowly, he's already missed his chance at trading at the frag on Henny. So nothing to be gained by going down here, unfortunately, except meeting up with his teammate, and then I guess trying to execute out through water. But even there, they're going to deal with problems right from the get-go, as Steel's waiting, watching the alt tunnel leading into water here, and he's going to hear that door opening. Easy frags to sink as he gets both, and closes out the round, tying the match up.
Yeah, and that's the one of the things about Overpass, though, is that you really can take advantage of tees that aren't like fully drilled, that just have openings in like their defaults and their strats and whatnot. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, when you're a CT, you have a lot of options and avenues that you could push, right? You could push Monster, you know, you kind of smoke the end, maybe flash over, you could push Sewers, you could push Connector, you know, obviously Long and Bathrooms, you could play aggressive there. There's a lot of just really sneaky things that you could do on this map, and if you're not like fully drilled and you're not fully ready for it, a lot of the time you can get punished pretty hard.
It's just going to be Winterfox up on an upgraded pistol round this time, and it's all P250s with the exception of Offnu, who's going to go for a deagle. That's it, though. And again, we can see them taking their jolly old time with things as they've moved in towards short A. Immortals giving them a little bit more room to work with this time, just in case they try to go for a rush play or something like that. Apox at the edge of that smoke, ready to go into B to try and cause the distraction. By doing so would probably not be so wise, considering what waits at the other end of that smoke. Meanwhile, on the upper side of things, Winterfox again, with that short A control, they've kind of slowly moved forward. They did obviously get themselves a couple of smokes and whatnot to play with here, which they are going to use to safely push up towards the entrance in A, but now they have nothing to actually get up onto the site and find a plant. Opti has a flash to go over, but there you go, 2 for 1 to start it off. Apox surprising a little bit there against Bolts, but they just got the bomb drop there with FNX grabbing those kills, and that pretty much settles the round. We'll have to see what Opti can do 1v3. If you can isolate them, he may have a chance at this, but on A, they're both playing together there, and he's also got a friend waiting for him downstairs here. If he tries to go for the full peak. There you go. Steal. No problem at all finishing things off, and it's another safe round for the Immortals.
Man, how many in a row is that for Immortals? I believe...
It's all 4.
4, right?
Yeah.
It was 3 at the start. So it might be like, it's just... The Brazilians, man, they can never win the first half pistol, but then they just go on a roll.
And then they don't lose any more rounds.
Yeah.
I think Selfless, I mean, so the first map was Selfless, they didn't lose a single round after they started winning out. And then I think there was like 1 or 2 rounds Selfless picked up after SK took control of the second map. And that was on Cash too, so that's like, I think we could expect them to trade a few there, since it's a much more puggier map that would play into that team's play style, but still.
Again, like aggressive positions though. Look where Henny is. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't make it 4v5 here. FNX coming to back him up. I think they pushed Sewers and like cleared it.
They don't have anyone watching behind them though, with Henny being so far pushed up. So if he goes through with that, that is going to be a massive flank swung wide open, since they're all playing together. FNX will get early spot on this too, since he's sitting in the upper end of this connector. That'll prevent Henny from being counter flanked there. He's free to go through this, and again, there's nobody watching out for this currently. They're still trying to form that push. They don't have Offnu on the backside. Apoc though, maybe the one to do it. He does move in, and there you go. Thankfully he puts watchful eyes on that one and takes down Henny, preventing him from doing any damage. Now the rest of the team is going to move back in, and while FNX will be able to drive a divide between him and Apoc possibly, that's all he's going to be able to do. Even attempt from Lucas to swing out actually fails. Just brings Raz down to 9 HP, so now FNX has his flank alive, but he's one of the few players actually left standing here. Same problem. Just like Raz, he brings Offnu down a little bit lower at around 16 HP, but doesn't actually sink the kill. Now they move back in, and this is always such a hard retake to actually successfully pull off, especially with the numbers disadvantage they're working against. There's Imagine getting aggressive, moving out for 1 kill, and Bolts as well. Both hit by flashbangs and stunned by that. So it's a quick closeout from Winterfox to tie us back up.
Yeah, it is, and Immortals' money isn't great. I'm assuming they're going to buy here, but Winterfox living with 4 alive. I think they'll buy the following round, even if they do lose this round. So they have a really good opportunity right now. If they can win this round, or even lose it but get a lot of kills, all of a sudden it could be 5-4. Immortals would be on a force buy, or excuse me, a save, and they could really make a run for it. And then even if they lose the round, you know, they could still probably buy the round after this. So they're going to have 2 chances right now to really solidify a bit of a lead.
Boost up on top there, but that's mainly to watch outside, so they may not actually see them coming in close up here, but the smoke blocks them from being seen over here on the top side as well. Arcs both ways though, so they have to be a little bit careful. FNX spotting from below, as we can see the flashbang coming back in. He got a spot, and they were checking the corner actually. So Henny with a shotgun getting 1 from up close. They haven't seen the second one yet, since there was a second smoke that's been applied, but they're still dominating. All they have to control is this little tiny corner here. Finally the trades roll in, but there's still Henny sitting down below here, who may be able to pick up some more. They have to move in to retrieve the bomb. Gets Raz, tries to transfer this Brown to Apoc, where he will be unsuccessful, but now Apoc's alone, and Bolts will swing in with his CZ and pick up the round for Immortals.
That does not happen very often, where all 5 kills, actually all 8 kills that round came around like the blue door and the connector. I mean, that was just a battle in there. Winterfox should buy here though, and like I said, they still have a chance. if they, to win this round and then force Immortals on an eco and possibly end this half really, really strong. But this round's going to be really pivotal. Whoever's going to win this is probably going to win out the half.
Raz moving himself up there early on. And oh no, the Molotov 2 doing so much damage. He's burning to it down to 37, and Melchior outside of Monster. It's just an absolute slaughter. However, maybe not. Oh, he gets both of them actually. I thought for sure Steel was going to catch the quick trade. Thankfully, Lucas is here, and he seems to have the situation under control. As they move in, he's picking them off one by one by one. There's one more trying to move his way in through Monster. Raz sitting back has been forced away from this one, mainly just watching out for a flank, but he's turned his back, which could lead to just his own demise here. Actually picks up one additional kill onto Lucas, but it is Henny to close out. And Immortals win again, up 6-4 now, and resetting the economy for Winterfox.
Yeah, and like I said, a really important round there. Now look at their money. It's just, Immortals probably going to go up 7-4, get a little bit of a bank built up. But, Winterfox is going to be able to buy after that, but it'll just be AKs, armor, and limited utility.
You can see again the pretty quick execution coming up, mainly from Lucas there.
Yeah, they tried to just go fast B, like contact B, not really like a rush or anything, just contact. They did a pretty decent job. I mean, it was 3v3. It's not the worst, but they were really low HP, and they were all known, like where they were. And then just a nice hold.
Really aggressive this time from Immortals' side of things. Henny just going into his own team's Molotov, trying to cut them off as they were still peeked out in the open there for a moment. But now Bolts has got the bomb, and it's not looking like there's an easy path to getting it back here. Although Bolts is going to challenge, which is where he could actually meet a nasty surprise. He moves forward here. Dinked, finished off by Imagine. They do get the bomb back, but Zusi suffering a heavy cost of his own health pool on that one. So recovering the bomb. The real question here is where do you go with it now? As Immortals have control of all those lower tunnels, they can have a very easy flank opened up upon you if they don't watch out for it. So there we go. It's Steel finishing off Zusi from earlier. The last two OTs also being split up, with Imagine kind of watching out for that flank, and Henny just trying to make sure that he doesn't get pushed from behind due to the kill on APOC just a few moments ago. So APOC himself moving forward here now, waiting for Imagine to group up with him before he goes through with it leading up to the site. Henny probably is going to be able to get our early eyes on this one as APOC only kind of half-peeked there. He also knows Imagine's there. He did run out of ammo, so Imagine's got a good opportunity to trade, and he will succeed in doing so. But wasting so much time getting that kill allows for Lucas to swing right in and finish things off.
Yeah, so like I said, Winterfox buying here. Immortals, decent amount of money. We'll see if they... Yeah, so they'll probably buy even if they lose this round. Immortals will, since they would be able to get like a double off if they want it on FNX on Lucas and 4 on Steel. That's looking ahead if they do lose this round. Winterfox going quick 4 towards B right now, 1 towards middle. It might be the same strat that they did before. Just switch it up a little bit. They're going to walk behind this molly, but a flash is going to come.
And now look at this from Lucas. He just goes in and gets himself a huge spree of kills. 3 in a row in that tunnel. Bomb location being scouted out there as well. And now to re-secure it, this is the other problem, is APOC tried to trade kills in Monster instead of securing the bomb. So now Steel takes the position of his old teammate. He does get counterflanked by Offnu there, but still, Offnu's now alone in a 1v3. There's not really a whole lot of room for him to work with here as he's been mollied back out, can't retreat. Spotted again by Bolts, and he's just going to finish the job. It's quick and it's clean.
I'm surprised Winterfox didn't see that coming, though. Immortals has done that the entire half. They've been mollying, the sewer tunnel, and then he waits for the flash. That player's jumping up on the sandbags and throws the flash. And yeah, just 3. It's just super easy kills, all of them just lined up. I mean, that was a very important round for Winterfox if they really wanted to have a good half here on this T-side Overpass. But yeah, I mean, they've been doing it this entire half, so I'm surprised they recognized it.
Yeah. And FNX does over-aggress a little bit here. Oh, what? Oh, is that a leg? Somehow it is. And APOC is able to get a second kill there on the Henny. So actually, decent start from Winterfox, mainly due to the over-aggression of Immortals.
They have 4 armors, too, so they're going to be able to get that op. They have AK armor, and then they have 3 pistols. So if they could just get a clean trade on one of the sites that they take, they could, they'll probably win this round. But before that, they're playing it smart. They're waiting. They know, like, at any moment, any spot that they haven't watched means, like, an Immortals player could be there, right? So that's why they're playing it smart. They're like, hey, we've gotten flanked too many times, man. Let's just make sure that it's not going to happen. Let's account for every spot on the map and make sure that not one of them can get behind us and just multi-frag and spot out where we are.
And it is super slow from Winterfox here. Lucas spots the shed of Imagine. So he knows they're coming, but they still pace it very well. The jumping player kind of distracts them, and Imagine gets the kill. Steel did trade out one more, and they're really focalizing on taking out Steel here right now, but he's able to hold very well, knows they're coming out, and there you go. Oh, he runs out of ammo, actually, so Imagine gets that frag. Now, Bolts is set up to win the 1v2, though, as both Imagine and APOC are incredibly low.
That was such a bad idea by them. I have no idea why they did that. Why they would force that fight when they don't have to and they know the guy's there. It's 2v1 and they know the guy's there. They could just go to B, they could go back, they're right there. If they want to go through the stairs, they could go up A and know this guy's stuck it long. You don't have to force anything and jump through a smoke.
So what may end up acting as a bit of a negative here against Bolts is the safe plant position, but no, they go for the plan on the far side. So it's not going to work out like that. Bolts can sit back and bide his time of day, as the bomb is not planted in a safe position here at all. Swinging out, though, he does have himself a bad angle to play against both of those players from Winterfox. So they still end up winning out the round, but it's a lot more costly than it needed to be due to that push out from the mid connector.
Yeah, but I mean, they win the round nonetheless. They win an eco round. And Immortals now, they're going to buy, but it's not going to be the best buy. They have 2 CZs, they have an UMP and two M4s. And Immortals just aggression and constant aggression and overconfidence, really comes back to kind of bite them in the butt there.
So we'll see for Winterfox, as they do split themselves up and play to that same slow pace they did in the previous round here. The Immortals kind of gauging out their aggression a lot more here too, as they've held back, nobody pushing out into the deeper end of the bathrooms there. And also very limited at not only their utility, but gunpowder as well. Only 2 M4s, a UMP for Lucas, and then 2 CZs sitting on Steel and Bolts. So they're pretty much just going to sit back, relax, and wait to see what Winterfox throws at them in this round, as they can't really afford to push back out, since they're very weak, and losing, even the UMP is going to end up being a very big deal with the lack of guns that they're working with here and forcing this one.
Yeah, it looks like they have a 3B set up right now until they get pushed back at A. Winterfox just walking slowly, and we'll see. They're going to have map control. They need to take care of Henny and kill him efficiently, but they're going to have map control to do whatever they want. This is going to be a test of how well drilled Winterfox is.
Henny sitting back and waiting. He's going to get the fake burst of it, but he did spot the shadow moments before they managed to push back in, so he can molly the back off. They're waiting for the repeat from him, but he's not going to go for it. It's actually going to be FNX from the top side that challenges them. Henny burns 1. FNX gets 2 more. Steel also counters the push from APOC and Monster downstairs. So it's just Raz now, who does have the op, so we can play this long range. But Immortals are looking very strong here to try and win this one out and reclaim their advantage here. Raz even missing the jump up there. Not going to be a big deal, but now trying to push himself in. I mean, he doesn't have time left, so I don't even think he's going to attempt this. He's just going to hug himself in the corner.
I just don't get why all of them go on the grass and there's not even one person in the bathrooms. Did you see how Henny threw the molly and he just ran into the bathrooms? Against any other team, he just dies there. Any other team, he's just dead. And yeah, FNX's flash is going to come out, but then FNX can't wide swing and get any of those kills because they have somebody in the bathrooms, and he has to worry about that. So, I don't know. Just mistakes like that just seem very constant from this Winterfox team. Just absolute blunders where it just shouldn't happen. It really just should not happen.
And the pressure from Winterfox now is not going to be that great in the final round. Again, they've got enough utility one to try and go for it, execute 2 Tech 9. So, I mean, it's a buy's buy, and it certainly has enough pressure to get themselves onto a site, but reducing it down to these Tech 9s certainly not going to be great. At the very least, they still have the op on Raz, which seemed to surprise quite a few of the members from the Immortals in terms of what they're expecting. And, well, there's the Tech 9s. Imagine leaps up on top of the steps and immediately headshots Henny. So goodbye to him. And now APOC is going to try to sneak his way in. That's a messy spray, though. And not only will Lucas get that frag, but FNX here in the bathrooms also grabs 1, gets some good damage, and finishes off a second player as Imagine goes down. The bomb's still safe for right now as Ofnu falls back behind Party. But again, no ground gain for these trade kills. And they're basically right back where they started.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm telling you, this isn't Immortals playing their normal brand of CS. They wouldn't go to a LAN and play the same style that they're playing right now against, whatever, Liquid or Virtus Pro or anything like that. They're just playing like this because they just feel like they're a lot better than Winterfox and they don't really respect them. And it's kind of I mean, a lot of teams go through this, even in practice, right? You have to be able to stop people from pushing. You have to punish them for pushing, for making big plays as individuals. And then you can finally make them respect you and play more standard. But Immortals just, they just don't have the respect right now, so they're just doing whatever they want.
And these last guys from Winterfox are going to try and just go for a direct push out from A-Long. Lucas spotting one, the bomb going down. Raz missing his opportunity at a peak there, and Lucas will sink the second kill as well. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Things pretty much going as expected here in the first half. It is the Immortals that control the situation, up 10-5. We'll see if the Oceanic Mix can do any better work on the second half coming up in just a moment.
ESL Pro League is brought to you in part by Logitech G, Pay Safeguard, Mountain Dew League, and ESEA.
Well, welcome back again, ladies and gentlemen. We are in our second match of the night here on our first map on it. Still, it's Overpass here between the Immortals and Winterfox. And again, like we've kind of seen throughout the season here, Winterfox unfortunately is not able to fare out too well against the Titans of the North American League. Here it is Immortals that control it. Currently up 10-5, and they're taking it pretty casually as well in the way that they're playing this map.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see how Immortals is going to play on their T side. I mean, if it's just going to be them rushing, playing super loose, just either 5-manning things or 4-1-ing, or just like 1-1-1-1-1, and everybody looking for fights and battles. Because I mean, that CT side was just kind of a free for all. They really weren't putting their best foot forward. You know, they were just kind of, hey, I just really don't respect these Winterfox guys. I don't think they could stop me from doing whatever I want to do. And even if I take a risk and die, one of my teammates is going to come up big and, you know, win the round, just due to, you know, Winterfox not watching the flank or, you know, whatever, and just not having that communication.
Yep, and it is going to be on Winterfox here now to really try and piece it back together and bring a solid CT side. As otherwise, I mean, like we've kind of expected here and like we've seen in many matches in the past, the Immortals aren't going to have any problem just playing that casual style and relying on individualistics alone to and win out this
A lot
map.
of the time on their T sides, when they played against like the lesser opponents in ESL Pro League last season with Zeus, when they were playing with Zeus, I mean, those were some of our fastest matches, if you remember. Like, they were so quick. I mean, especially on Cobble, they would just rush B and rush drop, and I mean, it was like a tactical like type of rush. It wasn't just, I'm just gonna do this. It was like Zeus saying, I'm gonna throw this smoke, this molly, this flash, you're gonna jump out here. You know, it was a tactical type of rush on Train 2. So I'm wondering if they're going to keep some of this, like that same type of like just confidence against some of these teams where they're just going to be like, hey, we're not going to play any slowed down type of play style. We're just going to go very, very fast in your face type of CS.
Well, let's take a look and see to the pace that the Immortals will play here as the pistol round for the second half is getting started, and it seems like a big train leading its way fast over towards B. Steel did have a bit of utility, which you can explain by the delay there on the minimap, and you can see flashbangs, decoys, or whatever is being thrown onto the map there. They all work their way out through Monster. Bolts has already clotheslined one. Apoc still trying to hold in Toxic as he did trade out a single kill here, so they're having actually a few problems dealing with him. That'll change its tune pretty quickly though, and Alpnu already being lit to hell. Lucas will finish him off as he does get control of the pit, and this is where that smoke came back in as it did deny retake pressure really quickly on. Zeusy does surprise a little bit though. It causes a jitter from the bomb carrier, in this case Henny, but as soon as he's in the sight, Bolt's finishing him off. It's on Raz, who will be able to get the instant headshot against Lucas going back in, but does not suspect Steel to sit right over here behind this little pole. And as the shots ring out, it allows for Steel to get free entry into a kill there against Raz, and for Immortals to pick up the second half pistol.
Yeah, and they win the pistol, and off like what I said, right? Just a very quick strat. They just rush B, and as soon as that no first kill came from that barrel player, And that changes like everything. When that first player taking contact isn't able to get that initial like USP headshot, it puts so much pressure on everyone else and allows so much ground for Immortals to take that all of a sudden the round becomes very different a lot of the time in those scenarios. Looks like they're basically doing more of the same, just coming out long G, instant headshot by Bolts.
And they're going to follow it up with 2 more as well. Henny and Steel picking up the kills, very fast round. Winterfox don't get anything done at all. Thankfully they were lightly invested, but still, round's already over.
Yep, over just like that. And maybe Immortals are going to keep that pace that we had last season where I really think they were like the quickest games we casted a lot of the time. Like when they played, they would win like these 16-6s against these teams that were in like the bottom half of the league. And it would be like 20 minutes. It would be like 25 minutes. They'd start on T side and go like 12-3 and no round would take more than like 30 seconds.
Well, Raz is going to try to abuse their aggressive pace here a little bit as he picks up the UMP. Gets a second frag here, too, so making it expensive. Problem is, Immortals probably aren't going to be worried about that. They're going to get the difference going into the next round here. The real task is trying to get that gun on the ground, which will finally be done by Bolts. So 2 kills for Raz at the very end there, but none on the actual side take, which is where things are going to become problematic if that trend continues into the gun rounds.
Yeah, a couple exits, but that's really it. Winterfox didn't really buy there, but I mean, they might buy here. You never know. They could FAMAS armor. I don't know. The 3rd round buy in CSGO is just not as strong as it was in Source, at least, and I'm pretty sure probably 1.6 as well, just because the FAMAS like, SMGs are just so good that they can like really compete with the FAMAS fine, you know? So it's just, I don't know if it's nearly as strong.
FNX is going to move in to try and challenge the Winterfox guys here. They all try to make a move, and it didn't really work out. Zusi managed to get FNX at the very least, but that's probably all he's going to get as he swings up. There's 3 guys waiting for him upstairs. Wants to take close contact with the USP instead, but that little corner there is not going to be enough. Lucas can still just peek him from the fountain area, and we've got Immortals up to 13 getting into our first gun round. Really 1 or 2 more, and they have this game under their control.
Yeah, like one of the things we used to do in Source was we would have... we would buy 3rd round with 4 of us, and then like either me or Frost would save, and we'd have like a USP, and play the other site. And if we died, you know, that player would die if they go there, and you just get an off the next round, right? And then the 4 FAMAS players would have like FAMAS armor and maybe some, you know, light utility, and they just stack a site. And if they come to that site, you probably win the round. And if they go to the other site, you just save and play the 4th round just for 4 FAMASs.
Raz this round is going to try and play himself forward since he now has the op in his hands, but not being able to find any of those players that push towards the playground early on, and there's 0 presence at long A too, so Bolts just has himself a free walk directly up to that site if he wants it. Most of the presence from Immortals, though, at least most of the forward presence, is still focused downstairs on B, since we can see, you know, Henny, they're already trying to challenge things a little bit. It was, you know, shot a bit down to 78 HP, but he's able to back himself out relatively safely. And the big story is still Bolts, just lurking in for free, and it doesn't seem like anyone suspects it. That may change it with Zusi right now, but Apoc swinging up, and yeah, look at this again, Bolts up there, but Zusi nicely held. He is able to recover just in the nick of time, saving not only his own life, but that A site from being taken over. Taking him down puts us into a 5v3.
So they're going to look for probably a contact B. Most times when you're in a 5v3, you usually don't see any executes. You might see like a pop flash and a run out. But generally speaking, like in any situation like this, it's like a contact play. As we see, Lucas just crouches out, goes contact, gets APOC and Imagine, and that's the site. Offnu now playing Graffiti, and this is a retake situation. He pushes into the water though, and this is actually really smart by him, but I think Steel does know.
Yeah, he should have been able to hear him moving up. He wasn't really quiet about it, so tries to bait him out. When that doesn't work, he is going to toss in the nade, and that'll go deep, sinking out about half of Afna's HP. Problem is there's no support for him from FNX way back because he's just looking at the sky over there. So loses him. Timer is a big issue here now too. 7 seconds left to play with. He's going to go for the plant in a second, but yeah, he loses himself there. Gets 1 more kill, looking for that last one. Can't find it though, and now he's got to watch out. Raz missed the shot though, and he should allow FNX to survive after that, as he does not want to lose the op either. Money's still very delicate for Winterfox right now.
That's a perfect way to lose the round though. Like almost perfect, because Raz still has an op. But I mean, they had 1 alive. Their buy is much worse than Immortals' buy right now. And if Immortals wins this next round, like the game's probably over. So losing the round, it sounds weird, right? But losing the round in the right way, in the right fashion, can actually give you a huge advantage.
Yeah, and that is now going to, as you can see, put the Winterfox buy down into straights here. They've already used a little bit of the utility, but with what they have left over, it's basically just the usual smokes and whatnot. They don't really get a huge amount of Molotovs and HE grenades to try and play with. Meanwhile, Immortals still sitting on 4 AKs and an op, and they have full utility for almost every single player. Winterfox on 2 UMPs here still. Quick control of the blower connector here for FNX. No one from the CT side. I mean, just overall, actually, so far within the 4 rounds that we've seen played out, no one from Winterfox actually tried to challenge connector pressure at all. So that's been another issue, as that Immortals have had free reign over that the entire time. Even, you know, if it's just on like an eco round or whatnot, and they're going to try to challenge it for info. Didn't work out here. Now they're moving up to the bathrooms, and again, they haven't had to stress about anything at all just yet. And oh, Henny goes for the flag onto the player, jumping over the flower pot there. It is a miss, but still, they almost give themselves away. Now, Lucas moving into challenging spots. 2 players up on the site. There is still going to be Zeusy from behind them, but I think Steel knows he's here, so waiting it out. And Zeusy just trying to play with it. But oh, the beautiful swing into the instant 1-tap there against Zeusy. Finally getting that frag they were looking for, and now puts the Winterfox guys down to 4. Problem is, though, is that they have kind of wasted a lot of time doing this. So, thinking that it's going to work its way over here towards A. They do have quite a few players from Winterfox in position to counter, but they've also changed the hit up down here towards B. And Winterfox also, again, didn't really overreact to that, so they still have 2 downstairs ready to defend it. Now, how adequate are they going to be? Unfortunately, not so much in the case of Imagine. It's APOC, beautiful swing frags. Gets himself bolts. Lucas and Steel goes for one more here as well, where he's got to switch over to his pistol, but Henny gets the better of him. And now Offnu going to try to move back in, trying to shut this last player down. He succeeds, and again, timer very low. FNX swinging up from heaven. He gets 1, but Offnu is long gone, and he will not be able to execute him within the remaining second.
Yeah, they must have known FNX was on the flank, maybe hearing him or something, because they literally just rushed the bomb planter. And the APOC really was the story of that round with a huge hold and a nice 3K for him. I think the peek on Henny, the re-peek was a little unnecessary, but Immortal senses that the money still isn't good, and this time they don't even have an op onto Winterfox, so they're going to buy again. 2 AKs, a couple of Deegs, and a Tech 9. And again, it's the same case as last round, just both teams have lesser, you know, weaponry to work with, but if Immortals wins this, they probably win the game.
It is a war of attrition right now, as Immortals are trying to just wean out Winterfox here and make them run out of cash first. And we can see, again, a very solidified Immortals. Nobody playing down towards B this time. They're all grouped up, just waiting for that smoke to fade, making sure that no one from the Winterfox side directly challenge them. So they are going to get free access down here. In fact, it's really passive overall. The closest thing they're going to have to resistance will come from Raz in the connector early on. They've done a 3-stack as well down towards B. So if Raz doesn't spot any of this, that A site is wide open for the taking, and Raz really has to hope that he can open up something big on the flank. And what's even worse about that too is because he has the shotgun, he's going to get pretty close up to actually find that he impact on that Mag 7. So he's going to be very careful. And Zeusy again looking for the spot. I don't think he's been able to see anything just yet, but since time is getting low and they haven't had any presence towards B whatsoever, this will now call for the rotation on Offnu to also work his way up towards that A site. So they do have a second player here to defend it, along with that flank from Raz. Immortals in the meantime are just running the timer a little bit before they eventually go for this execute. They did lose the edge at long there with FNX trying to get closer up because of the smoke deploy, but now in they go. And we will see if they can actually forge their way back into this site successfully just by purely overwhelming it. First, second, third kills, all theirs, including the counter on the flank from Raz. APOC and Imagine do not really have a hope of pulling this one off. So if they go for it, it's an easy way to lose their guns. And as they do sneak back up, Imagine finds his first ticket in. That's Bolt's gone down. This is only the first strike. Still 4 more to go, 2 of which have AK and armor purchases. And there's not really a lot of forgiving setups as they do go up there too. Lucas just moves into some massive damage to APOC, even finishes the job. Imagine's now the last man standing, and Lucas is going to go hunting here. Spots him, trying to flick all around. Imagine holds for that one. Really, though, if they break him here, then they're going to be able to win it out, but they give away 2 of those lives. And Imagine, though, still is really not interested in going back up to the site, still focused on saving. And what he may have to run into is Steel, who's actually already in construction waiting for him, but it's not even needed as Imagine just dies to the explosion anyway.
Jesus, man. It's like a 15-second run and he still dies to the bomb. Overpass is unforgiving. But now, Winterfox, money-wise, I mean, it's just terrible. It's terrible. So, Immortals has every opportunity right now to just close this out. I don't even think Winterfox took a pause this game, did they?
Nope, they didn't.
Yeah.
So they're on you. They force it again for obvious reasons. Since they're just so far behind, they kind of have to try and work with whatever they can at this point. But it's PT50's UMP and a 5.7 with essentially 0 utility. We've already seen how these have gone. A few trade kills maybe to be seen here due to the kind of reckless way that Immortals are playing currently, but not expecting a victory unless there's a big mess up from Immortals early on in the round.
Nice nade. I just get the feeling like Winterfox kind of, I don't know, you get kind of apathetic, right? Like, and you start losing, you're losing, like not winning any matches, and you just get kind of used to it, and you just kind of almost feel like it's going to go into these games with no confidence, and that becomes like a big issue. I might be overthinking it a bit, but I mean, I've seen people on teams like in these situations, and it's just like they never really feel like they even have a chance to win, even though they do have like outs. You know, they have opportunities to do things. Nice shot by APOC.
Gonna swing in there, get one. Lucas looking for the trade, but it's only one. So again, Winterfox having themselves an advantage early on the round. Now to capitalize upon it, though, they put a lot of players down on B. This is the smart move with the bomb being down, of course. Henny also waits patiently in the connector here as the remaining members of the Immortals do try to push their way in. Steal the Bolt's finite kills. They have not spotted either Offnu or the guy playing over there by Toxic either. So Imagine and Offnu are able to play together to bring back the presence a little bit. Huge damage done to Steel, and Offnu closes out as the last man standing. So again, surviving for right now off of a force, capitalizing on the over-aggression that we see from Immortals here now, not properly checking out the sites. That's going to reset their own bonus, but they still have enough cash to be able to buy back into it, and we're kind of right back where we were 2 or 3 rounds ago.
Yeah, and that pop flash, you know, it ends up being like a 4v3 because of it in the, you know, short piece sewers. And because of that, you know, like these weird situations happen where you could finally get an advantage in these scenarios. Raz just pushing middle gets punished by Steel. Steel has been like getting better and better. I remember the first time we saw him in Immortals and really got a good look at him was at iBuyPower Masters. And he was playing well, but he was doing a 1-to-1 to Zeus's spots, right? So he wasn't playing like nearly as well as his potential is, and is showing like now on Immortals. He's really stepping up and he's playing really good CS.
Well, again, it's spread out early on here. Immortals as players basically playing to their own strengths as they just try to win these out individually. Offnu almost going for the peak over there, but he's much more focused on just hanging out by the sign and getting some utility out on towards short. Zeusy still has presence in the bathroom. They can actually take on Lucas here too. It's Henny that gets free access from long up towards A, and that'll probably bring Zeusy back. Kind of saving Lucas's life for right now. Not a whole lot of action going on beyond that, though. But we will see that change as Imagine over-aggresses out from construction. And it's just going to be APOC here currently. Zeusy, though, still pushing forward. Finds Henny, taking him down. But it's, like I said before, APOC that actually finds a kill at 1 HP. And fast rotations allows for Offnu to get back down here. Again, we find ourselves in a 1v1. FNX versus Zeusy for control of the B-bomb site. The timer just now starting. FNX spotted him, though, but he didn't actually fire out on a Zeusy when he got into heaven. So he's spraying away, but leaves himself in the open. And that allows for Zeusy to close out on the round. Winterfox will go up to 9 here in a second.
Yeah, and Winterfox winning these close rounds, like just back-to-back very close rounds. Now we'll see if Immortals is going to save. I mean, they do have the bomb money, but I think they've only lost 2 in a row. So I'd anticipate a save or a pistol armor strat right now. Maybe pistol half armor, pistol full armor, and a couple nades, and you could still buy the next round. But Winterfox kind of got out of like basically just a huge danger zone when it comes to winning the match. Like they're just in such a bad situation when they were, you know, completely force bought with like 1500s, and the next round as well. But now, you know, it's looking like they could actually come back into this game.
Yeah, for Immortals' guys here now, they are going to try to go for a quick setup, probably just directly going for the contact play on 2B. They don't have a whole lot of utility. It's Steel carrying most of it. And as they get up towards it here, Imagine looking to contest, gets flashed, doesn't matter though, instantly finds a frag. APOC doing double duty here, trying to help out with the construction play. And yeah, Immortals is not finding any traction at all in that direct attempt to play towards B. They've lost the bomb. This is going to be a 10th for Winterfox.
Yeah, and it just feels to me though, like the rounds Winterfox wins, especially like the P250 round, is because Immortals, you know, and a lot of the CT rounds as well, I just feel are because Immortals kind of is giving them a bit of a lifeline, you know? I don't like to, you know, discredit Winterfox for even like coming this close, you know, as it is going to be 14-10. But I don't know, I just have like the feeling Immortals can just kind of turn it on and win, you know, when they want to.
Well, Steel trying to hold on his own and do as much damage as he can, but that's not going to be all that much. And for FNX now as the last man standing, hoping to catch someone on the boost up there. They could try and punish that a little bit, but don't think it'll be seen. And out comes the swing from APOC to finish off the job. He ends up with a 3K on the round. Winterfox get themselves into the double-digit territory, but after that, just Tech 9 round there. Immortals have the cash flow. They're going to buy back into this one. Tech 9s across the board. I don't think they have enough money for the op, but they definitely don't now. I was Steel's the last man buying there, so it's just going to be 5 AKs. But again, back up to full buy here. You know, full utility for the entire team and whatnot. Still kind of spread bought there on the Winterfox side of things. It's mainly just because they're sticking with guns for the previous rounds, though, which is why you still see Offnu on a UMP and Imagine on a FMOS.
Yeah, and you know, even if Winterfox you know, like say they win this round and then they lose another round. I mean, if they, you know, kill Immortals money, like I don't think Offnu should have an ump in this situation, right? They actually had money to upgrade him, and they're in a situation where like, why keep the ump, you know? They do push, and all three of them push, right? Offnu dies, other two get those kills, or that kill pushing long. So now we are in a 4v5, but 4v4, but Lucas knows exactly where they are, and he's just creeping up on them.
As he moves back in, the long presence, what he's really going to have to look out for from Zusi there is he just hugs the flower box. If Zusi goes for a cross out into the bathrooms peak, then he's going to find himself a pretty tough battle versus Lucas there, where punishes it. Raz and Zusi playing together, though. Zusi just getting so many kills here. 2 in that battle, and he also got the first one, so FNX and Henny are left as the last 2 alive, as they do push themselves up towards A to try and clutch this one back out. But again, they've lost control of the situation. Mainly off of the hands of Zusi here. It's coming out with some big hero plays to keep Winterfox in this map. As they move in, though, I don't think they're expecting any of these guys to come back in from long. Henny will have to try and distract a little bit from down here to keep the attention drawn, but as soon as that smoke fades away, Raz is going to be seen in the open, and that should be, in theory anyway, a free kill. They both find their strike here, and as well, we are able to see FNX kind of get Raz into the open to allow Henny to execute. 2v2. It will actually be a rough post plant, though, because they have a flank working their way around. So posting here on the semi, they play into the site instead, but both being so low. Essentially one tappable, which means accuracy needs to be really on point for these last 2 guys on the Immortals here. FNX playing to the side, but he does get the free peek out. APOC able to adjust in time, though. And Henny now stuck in a corner, revealing his position. Both Imagine and APOC find frags, and it's another one for Winterfox.
Yeah, so many close rounds here. 4v2, though, and you know, it looked like FNX was actually going to push through that smoke, and he would have killed Raz on the side of the head. But he doesn't do it, and Immortals probably still going to buy here. I mean, they're going to be able to get 4 AKs, a lot of utility on Henny, or he could even off if he wants. We're going to have a pause. I'm assuming it's from Immortals.
Yes, I mean, like we said, it's in theory, this match kind of seems like it's extremely one-sided, but now, you know, when they get themselves into the gun round and really looking like, all right.
Not.
Yeah, well, yeah, now they kind of get back into the gunner, and you can tell the attitude at which they're going at. They're like, okay, now let's close this map out really quickly, and then all of a sudden, they're going up against a much stronger Winterfox, it seems here, that has kind of learned how to adapt against them, and now they actually, you know, have to kind of try and get through this to close out the map.
I completely agree. I mean, they kind of, you know, now it's like, I don't want to say it's panic, but they're like, hey guys, let's just, you know, let's make sure we close this out. Let's, you know, hit them with a bread and butter, you know, maybe one of their most, you know, confident strats that they have. And are saying, you know, we shouldn't be in this position. We've been playing too loose, and let's tighten it up.
So weird buy when you look at the money totals there in Immortals. FNX full buys, but most of the others just go for like a half buy.
I actually like buys like this because, and I think teams should at least look for it more. Looks like they're just going to do a long B rush, but I'll tell you why after.
Yeah, Lucas is going to lead the charge here, moving himself in pretty quickly. Raz almost has a double, but he actually doesn't really connect at all there. APOC able to find one. He's down pretty quickly after that. FNX, hello, and goodbye to 3 members from the Winterfox roster. Raz in a corner. He's able to fight for 1 frag, but goes down after that, which means Zusi. We've seen him pull out some big plays before, but now he's going to pull off a 1v3 retake to keep his team in control. There's the first one, knocking out Henny. They know where he's at now, and they can try to position around it. So he is on a timer here. The bomb on the ground starting to tick away, and as well, Immortals adjusting position to counter out him. He'll have to deal with presence from both Construction and further back in CT main, mauling out Construction. He does give himself the smoke to play with, but he's not actually, it's not deep enough, unfortunately, so I don't think the trick is going to work. And when he just can't find anyone from the Immortals, it is the Immortals that find him, shutting him out, and finally putting them up to match point.
Just a nice bursty strat. But the reason I like buys like that is because pistols are just so powerful in this game. And I actually think sometimes if you ever do any type of an execute, a lot of the time it's better to have somebody with like an ump or a Tech 9 just rush the site, which would what FNX would have if they had lost this round going to the next round. You know, he would have probably just had like a Tech 9 or an ump because they just get there so fast. And a lot of the time, you know, it's like you have a good chance of winning that round because he has the AK. And it's still not a bad idea to have the gun, you know, just like a Tech 9 on the round before. Steel dodging the pop flash, gets killed by Zusi, who's really feeling it right now. I mean, he's came alive here.
Yeah. Zusi finding that kill against Steel again is probably going to cause a slow the roll for the Immortals here. They've been really, really passive when they've lost the first kill until they were able to trade it back, which is good now because they kind of get it back. So hopefully we can see them kick back into their more aggressive suits where they probably have seen the best of them so far in this map. And speaking of which, again, very little presence actually watching out for Long right now. So look at how far up Lucas is. He's walking up. Often he's going to check over the jump. I don't know if he spotted Lucas that close up, though. And even when he does, goes in. It's 2 quick kills from Lucas. Now in a 4v2, the Immortals have free control of A. It will actually take a while to get the bomb in there, as they're just going to wrap it all the way around. So Winterfox actually still have plenty of time to get back up to that site and in positions for a retake. But yeah, certainly not the best of straights here for APOC and Imagine to try and clutch this out.
And Winterfox, I mean, they got really hard punished for it there, but we saw throughout this half, guys were lurking up, long. Immortals wasn't able to capitalize on it. Remember when Zusi was just caught with his knife out, he jumped out and then got the kill and stuff like that. But, just walking up A, essentially, wherever Winterfox isn't watching it, and them just not having the timings down and getting shot in the back because of it and being surprised because of it. Now 4v1, it's almost an impossible task for APOC.
Yeah, he's going to work his way up and see what he can do. He's not even shift locking at all, so they know he's sitting right here behind the steps. 2 players peeking in him, gets one, traded out in the second, and finally we have the closeout that we expected. It is the Immortals that will take control of it. Winterfox, though, putting up their best fight, but unfortunately not proving to be enough at the end of the day. It will be our Brazilian squad that will take control of map number 1 here.
Yeah, Immortals, like I said, even when Winterfox was looking like they were kind of coming back, they had a good opportunity. I just kind of felt like Immortals could kind of win that when they wanted to just kind of tighten up and get more serious. Just quite frankly, like a way better team than Winterfox. Yeah.
All right, guys, so to close out the discussion here on Overpass, let's send it back over to Stunna and Vendetta back at the desk. Guys, your thoughts there on map number 1, and obviously a pretty close game in favor of the Immortals at the end of the day, but Winterfox certainly putting up their best fight.
Yeah, most definitely a much better fight there towards the end of that game, and actually probably more rounds than I think we would have given them.
Oh, way more rounds, way more rounds. I think honestly, I think it's a prettier result for Winterfox than what the game actually, or how close the game actually was. Felt like Immortals took a bit of their took the foot off the pedal towards the end there, because you could see throughout the first entire half that they were kind of bullying Winterfox in many ways. They were just doing anything they wanted. Were extremely aggressive on the CT side, something we didn't really see a lot from Winterfox. Obviously, understandable given how that first half played out, that they kind of want to try to play safely, but you could tell that this was the kind of game that Immortals were always going to close out in the end.
Going to close out in the end. And 2, I mean, we've already spoke about this a little bit tonight. No respect Counter-Strike. It's a real thing. And it's another example tonight we're seeing that. We saw it earlier with SK and Selfless, where SK went in there and bulldozed. Yeah. And we saw Immortals start with the same mentality and approach to this game here. Yeah, and that's extremely frustrating to play against when you're the underdog, because you want to, especially if you're prepared specifically for an opponent, because you know how they normally play. If they don't do that versus you because they simply don't respect you enough, you're going to have issues actually dealing with it, and you feel like you're not getting into your groove. You're not being allowed to set up the executes that you have theorized that should work versus a team like that, and that's obviously hard to get back from when you're in the heat of things. Well, in the heat of things, we do have round 14 loaded up for you viewers at home to take a look at right here. Walk us through this, Vendetta. This is a bit of a swing round. Winterfox actually won an eco before this, and this is the first time in many rounds we actually see Immortals playing passively, and you can see Henny spawning out the shadow there, dropping a Molotov, and here you see kind of the indecision and the issues that Winterfox ran into. Imagine it's just going to die just straight up to a Molotov that Henny puts out. 100 health points down the drain. Yeah, exactly. It's just gone. And this is one of the issues. It just lined up so nicely with what Dazed was talking about, because he mentioned the fact that they've been going aggro every single round in Immortals, and Winterfox are not dealing with it in a good way. So now it's going to be interesting to see how they deal with, the passive setup from Immortals. And obviously from that clip, you could tell not too well. And it's questionable that you have all 3 swinging around Banana instead of having someone through restroom. A lot of iffy things that should be... It's fairly fundamental stuff that's not really going according to plan for Winterfox. Okay, well, the next map we do have coming up is Cobble. When we come back from this break, we're going to see if Winterfox can put up a better fight or if they can even drive one home. We'll be right back after this.